been at a time when public trust in institutions, whatever that means, the government, the press, everything, has been so low?
Well, I do think we've had moments of really intense public distrust before, and usually they come in cycles after scandals are exposed when it's clear that there is corruption at the highest level, especially if the press has been in on it. So, for example, after the Warren Harding administration, when there were just a slew of scandals across all of the executive departments, public trust in those institutions was particularly bad, especially because that came on the tail end of World War One. So there was this concept that the government had got us into this pointless war and then had done all of these things to line their own pockets. And I think we're seeing some similar sentiment today.
Very similar. Trust in the government is falling 23% in 2024, 35% in 2022. Did the founders think about a way to prevent this?
Well, I think that they hoped that there would be a couple of mechanisms to help with public trust. So, one, they really talked about the importance of an educated citizenry. And the argument behind the need for education was so that people could assess if someone was trying to dupe them. People could sort of analyze the information they were getting. They would not be such easy marks. The second thing that they felt was really important were regular elections, because that would allow us to throw out people who were not representing our interests well. And lastly, the protection for the First Amendment for freedom of speech was very much by design. It was designed to allow people to petition their government if, things weren't going well, or to speak out against them. That being said, they understood that public trust is also essential, because a republic doesn't work if citizens don't try and uphold the institutions. They will completely collapse.
I'm thinking when you talk about free speech and a citizenry that's both educated and discussed, it almost sounds like you're talking about the need for Twitter in this in age. But we think about other times in history, right? And it's one thing, the drone mystery is real. People are talking about it. But then you think about, what if this level of distrust exists when hackers shut down all the banking systems in America? What about when there's another pandemic, when China attacks Taiwan? If there was a war, if there was another terrorist attack or multiple terrorist attacks, the concept of legitimately feeling like the people who we need to have us telling the truth are lying doesn't end well. Have we ever gotten to that point? Was that what, World War II? I'm trying to figure out where we were, where we are.
Yeah, it's a great point, because the nihilism when it comes to the drones is, something that's fun to laugh at and you can make jokes about and memes online. But when it comes to serious things, when there is a crisis, you need to have a voice that you can turn to. You need to have someone that you can trust to give you the accurate information in real time. And I think the Twitter of old often served as that during moments of crisis. Now I think the verification system has kind of ruined that use case for it. In terms of our historical comparisons, I don't know that there's ever been a moment where there has been a crisis and people were so distrusting of the government that they rejected what the government was saying. That I think is potentially new. Perhaps the closest parallel is the Vietnam War, when public distrust was so intense because there was this sense that the
That's a great.
government had really lied to the American people.
Yeah, I don't want to downplay the drone mystery because of how scared people are. And I think of how angry people
Mm.
are because they feel like they're being lied to. And nothing makes people more angry than when they feel like they're being lied to. How do you rebuild this? And I ask it not only for the government, but you think about the media. We don't have time for the clip, but Leslie Stahl of 60 Minutes was just beside herself about how nobody trusts the legacy media anymore. And that's because people feel like they have been lied to. Was it the Great Depression? Was it that crisis that then brought everybody back together post World War I into World War II?
I do think that certainly helped. I think there was also a great deal of accountability. So, periods of reform have tended to increase respect and trust for institutions because they are inherent recognition that the existing system is not working. So the New Deal after the Great Depression, the New Deal was actually a system of reforms about the banking system, the insurance system, the agricultural system, to help them better provide for the American people. And I think if we saw a number of reforms today, whether it was for, finance, whether it was banking, whether it was versus taxation, I think that would go a long way in helping people feel like their complaints were actually heard and the system was trying to work in their best interest.
I think you just hit the nail on the head when you put a bow on this in terms of the need for reform, which is what Donald Trump has run on, right? When we've called it tearing down the systems because people don't trust them. Lindsay, thank you. The book, John Adams and the Precedents That Forged the Republic. For some reason, I'm always fascinated by how these guys way back in the 1700s got it right for something that still matters now in 2024. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.